Hey everyone, and welcome or welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this Christmas holiday horror movie review video as part of my current December 2023 series. So today we're going to take a look at a movie that I wasn't all that familiar with before watching it for this review for this series. I think I had it saved. It was on Shudder. It was on Netflix. I can't remember, but I had it saved as on my to watch list. Um, but I had the opportunity to purchase it for cheap, and so I went ahead and did that and added it to my DVD collection, and that is from 2016, Red Christmas from with Dee Wallace. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. So Red Christmas is a 2016 Australian horror film written, directed, and produced by Craig Anderson. So it opens, the family gathers together to celebrate Christmas. Amidst the celebrations, a mysterious cloaked stranger named Cletus arrives at the house and is taken in. Due to his strange behavior, he's eventually forced to leave. It is eventually revealed that 20 years ago, the matriarch of the family, Diane, traveled north to have an abortion. During the procedure, a religious fanatic bombed the clinic and took Diane's planned to be aborted child, Cletus. Cletus has now returned to the family home to violently exact revenge on her family, on her entire family. As far as the cast goes, we have Dee Wallace as Diane, Jeff Morrell as Joe, Sarah Bishop as Susie, David Collins as Peter, Janice McGavin as Ginny, and Sam Campbell as Cletus. So yeah, that's the setup, the premise, and the cast for Red Christmas from 2016, the Australian horror film. Um, yeah, like I said, I didn't really know anything about this movie going into it. I just knew that Dee Wallace was in it, and it was a Christmas horror movie, kind of a Christmas slasher movie, which was enough for me to check it out. And as I said, I was going to watch it on Netflix or Shudder, whichever streaming service that I had it on about a year ago, I think, and never watched it. And then I had the opportunity to purchase it for cheap, so I did here. Um, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I can't say that it's a horror Christmas classic or anything like that, but I definitely like things about it. So let's just go ahead and get into my review for Red Christmas. Um, the first thing that surprised me that I wasn't expecting, I appreciate the fact that the movie's much more of a serious and sort of tragic horror movie rather than a silly or campy one. Because when you look at this cover here, at least when I did, I thought, oh boy, this is going to be like a horror comedy kind of thing. But some of them are good. I'm not shitting on all horror comedies, but sometimes this just looked like it was going to be really cheesy, but it's that's not the case at all. Actually, it's a very serious, a very downtrodden, and kind of tragic story. Frankly, definitely not silly or campy. Although some of the kills, it looked like they had a kind of a wink, wink at the camera with some of the kills throughout the movie. Took a little light note with those, which kind of threw the tone off, which we'll get to later. This movie does deal obviously with serious subject matter, though, as I mentioned in my premise, talking about abortion and stuff. Um, but it does it in a harder edge, serious kind of way, and I like that. I mean, it would have been easy for this movie to be an over the top, campy, kind of forgettable, money making sort of Christmas slasher, but it's really not. It definitely stands out because of the seriousness that's involved here, not only in terms of the themes, but also the kind of what they go for throughout the movie. There's a lot of family drama, obviously the seriousness of the and the horror of the killings and this killer and the look of them and everything. It's so that surprised me. Just not the campy cheesy thing that I thought it was going to be, but I appreciated that. There is some pretty good Christmas atmosphere and decor here that make for a good holiday horror slasher to watch around watch in December each year, or every other year in my case, as it'll probably be. It does take place right on Christmas Day, I think, and it has a lot of lights, Christmas trees, etc. throughout to let you know what holiday this takes place. And I have to say, I also did like the different lighting throughout the house. Like different rooms had different colored lights, and I thought this movie had a pretty good color palette when it came to that. So yeah, if you're looking for some Christmas decor and atmosphere, this movie's got some. I'm not going to say it's at the top of the list. It doesn't have the most I've ever seen or the best, but it definitely has some of the Christmas vibes going on. Another big pro is Dee Wallace. I mean, she's at the top of her game in this movie. She becomes a really she comes really becomes a badass towards the end of the movie, but also she has that emotional presence throughout the movie that makes her a really compelling character. And of course, her character is the one that has most of the backstory. Her character is the one that's kind of put the family in this situation to a certain extent, but she just does a phenomenal job in this movie, and just that emotional presence that she has. Um, yeah, it's her character was the one that I was following and I cared about the most throughout the movie, quite frankly. Um, Most of the kills are good. They're pretty fun. As I said, the kills themselves have kind of a fun, I don't want to say campy, but they're a little bit more wink wink at the camera as opposed to the rest of the seriousness of the film. With some of the kills that we get, most of them are on screen. They are pretty gory, not quite as gory as I thought or that I heard going into it, but they're pretty gory. There's definitely a lot of blood and stuff like that. Um, my favorite kill has to do with a blender. That's all I'll say. If you've seen the movie, you know. If you haven't, there's just know that there's a scene with a blender kill. But there's some other one. There's a bear trap kill that's pretty good. That's probably my second or third favorite. But overall, solid on-screen kills for the most part, with a fair amount of blood and gore. So that really stood out in this movie, and obviously it's something that I was looking for in a Christmas slasher. Um, what else was I gonna say? It was just on the tip of my tongue here. Um, Yeah, there's a few standard kills too, like a stab here and a choke with like a rope here or there from somebody from behind kind of thing. So they're not all creative, fun on screen kills. Some of them are kind of standard tropey slasher kills, but still, for the most part, there were some kills that definitely stood out in this movie. Um, well, I had my reservations through the first act and a half, I should say, of this movie, because it's kind of a slow burn for the first 30 to 40 minutes, if I'm being honest about it. Like something happens at the beginning of the movie that's kind of action packed, kind of going back to how we got here like 20 years ago, kind of thing, the first 5 minutes. And then it's all about the family drama and getting to know the family and these characters. And yeah, they kind of drag that on, but despite that fact, it really ratchets up quite well in the third act, I thought, with the different stalking slasher aspects, the kills, and some tension that we get with some of the characters in the house or outside. So, yeah, I thought the third act was definitely the solidest part of the movie. And then I have to say, for a low budget independent Christmas slasher, which a lot of times are misses, there's a pretty good production value here with the setting, the decorations, the decor, and I think the killer's look is pretty solid. You don't get to see underneath, he's wearing bandages under this cloak. You don't always get to see him, but there's one scene where he's revealed when he puts his cloak back on. And it's pretty good prosthetic makeup there, pretty good practical makeup effects and gore effects in this movie as well. So those are my pros for Red Christmas. Getting into some of the cons, there's a few. The pacing I don't think is great in this movie. Like I said, it really slow. They really drag out a lot of scenes, like when they welcome Cletus into their house and he reads a story, and then the two sisters have it out over a meringue pie or something. It's like, what the fuck, man? Why are we spending? I almost dozed off for a minute there, to be honest with you. So stuff like that, and then it picks up towards the third act, but then there's other parts in the third act that kind of drag a little bit when people are running around. I don't know. I just didn't think the pacing was great in this movie. All the characters, other than Dee Wallace's character, are quite forgettable, and some of them I really couldn't stand, and I really couldn't wait to see him be killed. Honestly, like there's a pregnant woman and her husband that I was glad to see get it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Diane as a character was pretty good. Joe wasn't too bad, although that was kind of a cliche character as well. Yeah, I just didn't really care much about the characters, even though they tried. They tried to take their time and develop the characters, but really it kind of fell flat on its face for me. On that point, I don't think the acting was all that great, aside, of course, from Dee Wallace. She's in a category by herself, but the acting by the other family members, I didn't really care for. I didn't think it was great. There's a couple of them, like I didn't list the name, but her son, who also has Down syndrome, I think, and I think the actor did in real life too, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't list his name here, but I thought he actually did a good job. Um, you know, Jeff Morrell as Joe did a good job, but everybody else, meh, not great. I really didn't care for the cinematography in this movie or a lot of the camera work. Not all the camera work, but some of the camera work, especially in the third act as we get into the action packed stuff. They were doing different things with the cameras. They were walking with the camera, moving around, shaky cam. Even though it's not a found footage movie, just some of the camera techniques and things they did. At one point, there's a POV of a shotgun, like the head of a shotgun. It's like, what the WTF on that? So yeah, some of that stuff just didn't work for me. To be honest with you, it was kind of distracting when I was trying to really get into the movie in the third act. So not as effective there. I would have liked some of the kills as much as I liked the kills. I would have liked some of them related more to the holiday of Christmas, in terms of related, killings related to objects or decorations, etc. Just would have been a bit cooler, I think, for a Christmas slasher movie or Christmas horror movie. Um, I also did kind of miss sort of the outdoor snowy atmosphere. That's why I can't say the Christmas atmosphere is like one of the top horror Christmas movies because this obviously took place in like California or somewhere south where there wasn't any snow. It appeared to be warm and you know that there wasn't a speck of snow on the ground. So I'm guessing someplace south or west. I'm not really sure, but that was an aspect I felt was missing that really could have added to some of the not only the gore but just some of the aesthetic of the film. That was a missed opportunity there. And then finally, you got some really cliche bad character making decisions, I should say, that really only happen by the movies for the kills to take place in the movie. I mean, they the movie makes these characters be dumb so they can be set up to be killed basically, and for some people that's not a big deal. I didn't, but some movies do it a lot better than this movie did. And so I was really annoying. I already didn't like the characters for the most part to begin with, and then they're making these decisions. So as a viewer, I was like, have fun in hell, see you later, you're dead, kind of thing. And it's just kind of that's not necessarily a great thing either. So yeah, kind of a mixed bag on this movie, guys. I'm kind of going back and forth on whether to give it a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. I think I'm going to go with a 6.5 out of 10 right now. I'm not going to sell it. I could see watching this in another year or two around December. It does have some good things about it, namely Dee Wallace and some of the kills and the gore. The story is interesting. They took a pretty serious subject matter and tried to and put a premise on it that's interesting about this aborted fetus that turns into a killer. I don't know if that's been done before. Um, but overall, like I said, the movie's got pacing problems, it's got character problems, it's got missed opportunity problems, and it's got cinematography problems. So 6.5 out of 10 for Red Christmas for me from 2016, the Australian horror film. Go ahead and comment down below if you guys have seen Red Christmas. It's been out for 6 or 7 years now. Um, what your thoughts are, comment down below. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews for this series. And please be sure to subscribe to my channel as well so you don't miss any of my great horror content. Not only the rest of this series, but what I have coming out for the first half of 2024, frankly, is planned out. So, with that being said, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're enjoying this review series and you enjoyed this review. Hope you're enjoying the holiday season, but of course, stay scared. Bye.